Welcome to the Bigger, Braver Life show, where leaders and high performers learn to rewire their minds, regulate their nervous systems, and rise into their next evolution. I'm Angela Williams, therapist, leadership coach, and your guide to living, leading, and creating from deep alignment. Because your bigger, braver life isn't about doing more, it's about becoming more of who you really are.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm so excited to be joined by Stefanie Julia today. She has been an amazing inspiration, I would say, to my business. I didn't even tell you this before either, but I've been watching you and I'm like, okay, we got to get like Stefanie. So you're going to hear why in just a second. So Stefanie Julia is a business coach for coaches seeking to transform their passion and purpose into a profitable venture by attracting clients on autopilot. She's also the mastermind behind the top-rated fitness coaching program for avid and aspiring travelers. Stefanie's dual expertise in entrepreneurship and a 13-year tenure in Homeland Security Investigations gives her a unique edge in the coaching arena. Stefanie serves an audience of 200K each month. She offers a refreshing perspective on launching, growing, and scaling a business while working full-time in a very demanding federal law enforcement career. Her powerful insights have been featured on leading networks such as ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC. And today we have connected, and today we have the exciting adventure of talking about our journey being entrepreneurs and being moms. And so I'm really excited. This is a timely conversation. I actually also just had a feature published in Authority Magazine about, kind of what it was like for me to go through pregnancy, and kind of talked about my pregnancy traumas, how I rebuilt from that. I also mentioned how, it's difficult being a business owner because I had to rely on myself. And guess what? I was not ready to go back when I wanted to go back. And so, yeah, there's a lot that goes into being an entrepreneur and a mom. So, Stefanie, I would love to hear, if you want to tell us a little bit more about you, how you're doing right now, how's the baby, and also as a heads up for everybody, I've got my little one in the background, so you're going to hear fun noises also throughout this. So,
I
welcome
feel
to
like this is
Stefanie Julia.
this is perfectly placed. I'm just now learning how I get to be a little late to things or be delayed. I have a beautiful excuse now.
Yes.
My excuse is actually in the other room. I called in reinforcement, so she's being taken care of. Because she's only 7 weeks. She's not at all going to sit in the corner
Right.
and
Sit in the
let me
chair.
keep running.
Yeah.
Yeah, no way. But everyone, hi. Thank you for that introduction. My name is Stefanie Julia. I am a new mom. My baby is 7 weeks old, just so 7.5 now. When I found out that I was pregnant, it was I'd be surprised. I was a full-time, or I am a full-time entrepreneur. So the first thought was, okay, how do I do this? And crazy enough, I'm a one-to-one coach. I talk about the value of having that one-to-one interaction with your business coach. And I had just spent a good amount of time harping on other coaches who don't do one-to-one coaching. And now I had to figure out, what do I do with my one-to-one coaching clients when I won't be able to during maternity leave? And I didn't want to have a short maternity leave. But you notice that I used to be a federal law enforcement officer or an agent. I was a special agent with Homeland Security Investigations. And back then, they gave us so much leave. The sick leave, you could save it year after year. So when I left, I should say the last few years, I had almost a year's worth of sick leave. Yes. And the whole purpose of me saving it was for maternity leave. I was saving for maternity leave when I was single, not dating anyone, but I always knew, like, okay, if I was to get pregnant, if I was to have a baby, they're not going to pay me if I don't have the leave. So I just banked all of my sick leave, and thankfully I didn't have anything go wrong. But when I left, about it was like 9 months before I found out I was pregnant, I had left that 9 to 5. And so with that went that leave. Now, not thinking about it, I had to recreate that scenario, but with my own business. And as an entrepreneur that owns the company, it's not like I can just go put in some leave and get paid. I have to create that opportunity for myself. So that was the situation I was in about, let's say, almost a year ago, I guess, 10 months ago.
That's
Oh.
wild, right? Like so much of that leave. I worked in the government before too, and I was like, there is a lot of flexibility. There's paid time off, there's even extended, time off that you can take, but your job is secure, right? Like there's a lot of different opportunities there. Yeah, when you are facing this as an entrepreneur, it's like, no, I'm in charge of all of this. I'm in charge of generating the money. I'm in charge of setting everything up and making sure that my business runs or something's happening, right? Or I'm fully prepared for a break. Being a solopreneur, I think too, is really the extra interesting challenge here, right? And I think in my case, luckily for me, my husband is also contributing financially, and he's providing the benefits, right? And so like I'm in a very secure place comparatively to other people who are by themselves, right? And I know like for you, you have different benefits. You're going to talk about like how that worked for you, but some entrepreneurs have to go out and get all of that. And it's like everybody has their different situation, and it's like, okay, wherever you are, now we need to plan for what's to come. And it's like, how do we do that? So yeah, can you share that story of how you prepared for your maternity leave?
I was laughing because I said, yeah, I jumped on it and was like, okay, we got to figure this out. But there was a while where I was in not necessarily denial, but I was very angry. I was hurt because I actually found out I was pregnant just days after I left my ex and drove across country, and like everything was dissolved. So I was like, I had some security and then didn't. So I had to fund it with my own business. And my initial idea is actually the plan that I teach. So what I did was I rebranded, which I guys don't do that. So I had to recreate my entire marketing cycle. And I was like, you know what? It's fine. I'm ready to go out and rebrand because I focus 100% on fitness coaches. I was a fitness coach prior to becoming a business coach. I'm still a fitness coach. And I only taught fitness coaches, but I've noticed I had so many other coaches in my containers that I was coaching. So I just took that part out of the brand and focused on the systems that I was teaching them, which was the client attraction system. So I had to recreate everything. I'm talking about website, training videos, all this stuff. And I took it as an opportunity for whatever reason to do it at that moment. And it was a 3-month marketing cycle because I literally did everything that I teach. I just did it all over again. And not it. I went from, man, I even remember. I did a paid challenge. I did a course. I did master classes, rebranded all my ads. I finished off with a membership community. And that was my plan. I was like, I'll do this. I'll hire teammates and all that kind of stuff. And it worked, but didn't work. It worked in the sense of what it was created to do, like my marketing cycle that teaches you how to create a sustainable growth system through client attraction systems. But what I needed was fast cash. The thing that everybody's trying to get away from right now is like that fast cash, and then you don't have anything. That's what I needed. I needed a whole lot of money at once, and
Yes,
I didn't
ma'am.
care if it wasn't sustainable throughout my maternity leave. I actually just wanted to leave with the money already in hand. So, okay, crazy. I'm trying to make a long story short, but I had a conversation similar to like the ones that we have every once in a while when we connect. And that coach, she's a business coach as well, gave me the idea of VIP days. I had never done a VIP day myself. So I'm big on witnessing. I had never witnessed such a thing. So I never did it. I never thought to do it. But she does them and she loves them. So she was like, girl, just do it. The next sales call I got on, I was like, do you want to join the course, or do you want, because I wasn't taking on any one-to-one clients anymore. Like, do you want the course or do you want this VIP day? And obviously VIP days are way more expensive. when I tell you she was begging for the VIP day, I was actually trying to tell her, like, hey, maybe you should take the course, because I'm like intimidated by it. I'm
Right.
like, I don't know what this is. But, and I told her, I was like, I've never done one before, but I'm willing to do one with you. And she was like, that's what I want. And when she did it and we created basically her coaching, she didn't have nothing. This girl didn't have social media accounts, nothing. And my marketing cycle requires social media, okay?
Literally from 0 to
100. We created her, she wanted to do a Facebook group. We created her Facebook group. That meant all of the branding around it, the websites to bring them in, the ads funnel, everything in 2 days. So it was amazing to see it happen. And it got me so excited. What happens when you get excited, you start talking about it. I started talking about it on my social media while I'm going through the marketing cycle that was supposed to fund my maternity leave. I'm going through it, talking about VIP days as like this alternative, and people were jumping on the VIP days. So my lesson from this was, and eventually I pivoted. I finished the marketing cycle because it had to get done anyway. It is the sustainable way to grow. And now I have it. But I put, like, soon as I finished that one, I had like a month left before I really needed to have this, like, not that my maternity leave was starting in a month, but just that comfort that, okay, I'm not going to work all the way up to like 8 or 9 months, right?
Right.
So I started pushing it, and within a month, I got what I needed for my maternity leave. I wish I could have thrown myself a party. Maybe I still will later.
You need to. Y'all, I
really
saw her. I witnessed this. She was pregnant doing these VIP days after VIP days after VIP days. I'm like, are you okay?
girl. I know, right? Like, are you okay? Like, come on now.
But you need to celebrate. That was amazing strength, and I don't know where you got all that energy.
I had a blessed pregnancy, I will say. And so I'm going to wrap that into my lessons, because I was in a unique situation where I didn't have too many issues with energy after my first trimester. The first trimester, there wasn't anything. I don't think I really worked my first trimester, but
That was rough. Yeah, for me.
I had extreme fatigue. But the lesson really was, one, it's okay to pivot even in fourth quarter. Because it was definitely fourth quarter. But if you do pivot, you better bring the salt. And I know I did. And you're going to be scared. I'm just throwing it out there. For those who are big on law of attraction, I'm sorry to put this energy on you, but you're going to have fear, doubt, worry, all that stuff. But in speaking of law of attraction, it's why I was able to bring the energy, because I raised my vibration when I was about to close down shop. I was about to close down shop when I realized the marketing cycle didn't work. But someone had to tell me, like, Stefanie, who cares? Do you not see everybody wants your VIP days? Pivot. Like, someone had to tell me to pivot and focus on the VIP days.
So wait, I want to really quick. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I need to know, if you can, what are the steps you use to raise your vibration?
Ooh.
If you can. I know
it's hard to put in words.
I know.
But so I have a morning routine. Previous to this, I'll tell you the steps and what I did to take that and raise it higher. So I start off the morning routine with a meditation, like maybe 10 minutes. I don't go too long. Yeah. And then after that, I'll journal. And I journal gratitude. What am I thankful for? Previously, I was looking at what I was doing the day before, what happened the day before, but how I even raised that to the next level. I looked at my life, how people were DMing me, asking me questions. I was so grateful for that, right? That person may not ever buy anything for me, but I'm so grateful that they were interested in what I was doing. Can't believe I'm about to say this, but shout out to my ex, because he was in almost every one of my gratitude, like, journaling sessions. And it was because I was still holding on to a lot of anger, and I was upset at having to do this by myself, having to focus on the business and not, be able to just be pregnant, be like, enjoying everything. I was angry about it. So I used the gratitude journey to redirect it. I used to say, I'm so grateful that he is interested in being in Kazaya. Is like, I'm so grateful that I forget what else I wrote about that. But if I could think of anything, I would just I would
That's
pull
the
stuff.
point. That's the point. You shifted that energetic response. You chose,
Yes.
you decided that no, here's what I'm going to do with this instead. And that is huge. So yes, sorry, thank you. Continue.
No, because I honestly believe the gratitude practice that I adopted was the reason why all of this happened. Like I don't there's a motivational video by Steve Harvey that I love where he talks about how if you gave a house to two people and one person was complaining about the sink not working or that the refrigerator's old and the other person, the exact same house, same setup, and the other person is just like, I'm so thankful that I have a refrigerator. I'm so thankful that my sink, the water comes out of my sink if it's intermittent. You're going to end up giving more to the person who is grateful for just whatever they have.
Yes.
And so anytime someone spoke to me, I was grateful for what was coming my way. I was grateful to know that my pregnancy was healthy, even though I felt like I was stressed every 5 seconds. Like, how is this? Hey, so grateful that this is that my stress isn't going into my baby and causing other issues. So, and I wish that came to me earlier on. I can't imagine what I would have done in my life and in my business if I was doing that the whole 9 months.
And I
So,
want to just thank you for sharing that because I think like we think of these things, these practices like gratitude, journaling, some people think it's fluffy, some people think, but no, like literally, y'all, this is the breakdown of how Stefanie was able to open the floodgates of abundance. And we just talked about she's still getting abundance in the form of gifts, right? She's getting abundance in so many forms. And it's because of that gratitude, that grateful energy that shows like the universe or God, however you want to say
mm-hmm.
that I'm open to this and I would like more and I'm loving this, right? And so it's like that is like such a huge key. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I know you were going somewhere, you were going on your journey with that.
I will go on I feel like there's so many pieces in here deserves a book. But
yes, ma'am.
The last 2 months before I actually had her, so not even, I think the last month before I left for maternity leave was when I started practicing the gratitude journaling at that level where I looked at my entire universe and looked at it in a way to raise the vibration on the things that were very low vibrational. And it changed everything for me. When I say immediately I started getting sales calls booked in the DMs that from people that have been in my energy for a year. So they're not even in, like my system is very quick. Like the client attraction system that I create is very quick. Like you're getting on sales calls with people that just come into your energy like the day before. So when a year later somebody's hitting me up, I'm like, what the heck? To the point where I turned off my ads going into maternity leave. I was like, why even waste money on this? People are coming in, or I shouldn't say waste money. I wasn't nice about my ads. You're not a waste of money.
I get it though, right? You're like, hey,
not.
we're the energy
But I didn't
point,
need it. I
right?
didn't need it. I was able to do it without attracting new energy. And it was really a fourth quarter thing. Like I have a client who is pregnant and I'm teaching her the way to do it, so that she doesn't have to worry about fourth quarter. Because I had to make that money real quick. But it wasn't that much. If I started this in the beginning of when I found out I was pregnant, I wouldn't even be back for like 6 months to a year. So I can't
You're like,
even
I'm out.
imagine. I
Yeah.
can't even imagine because it did so well that last month that sometimes I'm like, I can't wait to get back in and start doing it again. Because
That's
now
amazing.
that pivot has become my, like, the way that I work in my business.
That's so freaking awesome. And what a great example and like shot of hope, right? For people who are in this situation and they're like, okay, what am I going to do? Right. And I think I don't know if I told you this before, but I was like, man, I wish we would have had our conversations even before, that. I'm like, you were so inspiring, with the way that you were able to do this. Also, I don't know if you've heard this before, but I thought this was really interesting. Someone told me that it was like something about babies being like an amplifier. So it was like,
Yes.
yeah. And I was like,
Babies come with money is what I kept hearing over and over again.
yes,
Babies come with
yeah.
money.
And it's like, and for me, my way of abundance is always like through gifts or like unexpected stuff like coming
Mhm.
in. And so yeah, like for him, like we had, you have a baby shower, and I know for you too, right? Like it's like so nice, like people but like the most random, like you said, like random people sending stuff or like stuff showing up when it was like, oh, we're out of diapers. And then his brother would buy a thing of diapers, go, oh, I just brought you these diapers, right? Like it's like how, like, wow, it's like I feel like this abundance is really multiplied, with this baby. It was just like a really cool, it's just an interesting concept. Anyway, I'll dive into that at some point, but I didn't know if you'd heard
I
that because
think
I was
it's
just like, wow, this is like really a thing.
yes. And I didn't, not on purpose, but I think I raised hers even more because her name means like cinnamon tree, and cinnamon is what is like associated with abundance and stuff like that, and like money rituals. What else? She was born on it 8 day, which in numerology is another hat tip to abundance. There was like so many. I was like, oh my gosh, I swear I didn't do this on purpose. But yeah, like the baby registry, when I shared that, it was like I still, like I told you, I still get this right here, this dome, this baby dome in the background is was purchased by Michelle Robinson, someone that I know from a coaching program that I was in last year. So
So
it's just
awesome.
I can't even take the smile on my face because that was a happy turn of events. I'm sure everyone, if you are working with your clients one to one of the fears that I had was that when I announced my pregnancy, people were going to look at themselves and what they're going to lose and not necessarily like what I'm gaining. So it wouldn't be a celebration, it would be like an, like a oh shit moment or something. But that is not what happened. It's not what happened at all. I haven't received anything negative, and matter of fact, one of my one-to-one clients, when I told her what my maternity leave plan was, how I hired coaches to come in and support like the VIP day clients that I had and the one-to-one clients, she was like, you're doing all that. If I were you, I would have just walked away. And I was like, can I still, but no, I wanted to make sure they were set up, but the fact that they were even grateful for the work that I put in and the investment that I made into their business that they didn't expect either, that really filled me up as I was leaving.
And I think that's such a great point. It's like, we've talked about the importance of pivoting. When you think about coaching and you think about how people entrust us with, their time, their money, and their energy, right? All of that is an investment. It is truly only a service to provide more and better quality care. You're right. You could have just walked away and been like, hey, going on a break, see you later, right? But you didn't do that, right? It's like, how can I still provide value and support to you as you made this commitment to improve yourself? And I think that is a mark of somebody who's going to have a sustainable business, and also clients who want to come back for more, right? Because they do truly feel and are taken care of. So love that.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
good
I
job.
definitely will say, because if I was listening to someone talk about how they hired coaches while they were on maternity leave, I definitely would be like, well, I can't do that. Girl, I'm going to tell you. And all I did was sit down and look at what that actually meant. What did that mean to her? Like, how much was I going to have to spend? How was I going to utilize them? And I'll be honest, y'all, like it's less than $1,000 a month do I spend on my coaches because of what I created ahead of time. So I will say I'm not new to this, right? Like I'm true to this. So I had stuff, I had courses, I had systems, I had things that they could use in my absence. and I didn't just start coaching them right before I left. But for someone that's like listening and they're in a similar situation, just look at what you already have and what you want to do and add that to your goal, right? Like I had to fund my maternity leave, so that meant I had to come up with a certain dollar amount. So I just sat down, figured out what did I want my maternity leave to look like, even down to my what are we gonna call her, nanny me mom?
Exactly. Yeah.
she, she's funded through my maternity leave, like when I was funding my maternity leave. So look at what it is. Don't limit yourself. Matter of fact, please don't limit yourself. I just looked at just the exact amount. I wish I doubled it because guess what I got? Just the exact amount. So don't limit yourself. Go for it. It's all achievable.
Yeah, that's really great advice. And like, even, when I've held my vision workshops with people, leaders and, business owners and things like that, it's like, they'll be, I'll get these comments of like, oh, I'm scared to dream too big, right? Or, I'm scared to put this out on paper. Or sometimes I think we like pre-disqualify ourselves, right? Like it's like, oh, I want an extra da-da-da for weekly housekeeping, right? It's like, oh no, maybe just like once a month. No, put it on there, right? Like you get to say that, you get to put that into the universe and you get to work towards that. You don't have to limit yourself before, you put things in motion. Like you get to decide that. So I think there's a real freedom in that, where the freedom doesn't come in is like, our own mindset, right? The own limits that we place. And that's what we're held back by.
Yes, 100%. So I read 2 books to help me really raise my vibration. So I'm going to share with you while you grab it. The first one was the Law of Attraction book. I think I read the whole compilation that they had. It was like 3 or 4 books in one by Esther Hicks, and I listened to it really on Audible. It's a really old book, but so it within probably whatever is equivalent to the first chapter, I understood where the gap was in my vibration. And then I started a gratitude journal practice that was actually in a book. It's called The Magic or Magic. It's in the Secret series by Rhonda Byrne. Oh my gosh, I hope I'm saying her name right. But it's really good. One of my friends, her name is Denise Marsh, referred it to me. And we did it together. It was like a 21-day challenge. And each day was an assignment. And it was like, just know it's so good. I gave away those books to my VIP day. So definitely recommend if any of you guys are in that low vibration. Like she was mentioning that your mindset is kind of off. Like you're not in that abundance mindset, you're in a scarcity mindset. If you just think you might be, check out those 2 books and that gratitude journaling. It takes you like maybe 5-10 minutes a day to do it.
Thank you for sharing those resources, yeah, too, because I think sometimes it's like we have these desires and then it's like, okay, but what's the structure? Like we need, we crave that structure. And so I think that's really important too. So thank you for sharing that. And then as part of our conversation, I think maybe we can just kind of go through to share for folks who are navigating this journey. So talking about through like the prep and stuff like that, there's a couple of points that I want to, make sure that we cover for our listeners who are navigating, funding or figuring out or mapping out what's that going to look like as an entrepreneur. What does maternity leave look like? What is before, after, during, right? All of that. So I know we had talked about a couple of things as far as prep work. And, we talked about benefits. I think you had said, you had already kind of had benefits figured out. And so did I, but I know that's something that people, have questions about. But I think a lot of it is doing the research and looking for what works for you. I know there's specific companies specifically speak to entrepreneurs about their benefits. I don't know if you have any other things to add to that, but my recommendation is just to do the research on what you need for that.
Yeah, definitely do the research and then ask your friends too. I have a ton of business besties. If you ever hear me talk, I always mention at least one of them, and they all are a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
Not everybody may have health insurance or have like the the life insurance set up, but if you ask enough folks, they probably do. I was thankful to already have that stuff squared away ahead of time, so I didn't have to go that route.
Yeah.
But something that you even put me on to, I still haven't even thought about it, was getting my will together. I'm gonna need, I need that, like, for real.
Yeah, so that's a really good point too. Yeah, so definitely if you are an entrepreneur and you don't have a group of fellow female entrepreneurs, please get one. There's so many online. You can talk to Stefanie or we can direct you. We're part of groups as well. But it's really important to have other people who are doing what you're doing or have done it and be able to connect to them. You know, definitely connect first and foremost. When I was researching how to go on maternity leave as a therapist, too, because I have two businesses, the therapy and the coaching, and there was really limited information out there. And so, you know, this is going to obviously be on the podcast where I'm going to do more blog posts about this. And so, you know, I think it's helpful to have it in multiple formats too. You know, when I literally just Googled, like, what do I do as a therapist on, you know, going on maternity leave? And so, yeah, part of that was the health insurance. So that was one thing, right? We already kind of addressed that, but the life insurance, I didn't have that. And my advice was, so I started the process while I was pregnant and I didn't complete, like there was like a final like step or interview you had to do. And for whatever reason, like I put it off or I was like tired or whatever. I didn't do it till after I had the baby. Do not do that because I had to tell them all the ER visits I went to. I had to tell them about my blood pressure and like all the stuff that was going on afterward because I had those complications. And so please do all of that prior to giving birth. So as soon as you can, if you don't already have that in place, if you're even thinking about becoming pregnant, that would also be a great thing to do is do it now. So that's my recommendation for the life insurance and the will, like you said. Yeah, that's something that you may want to do some research too, because especially we having businesses and us having, you know, families and kids and things like that, or for those, you know, that do, there's a lot of now kind of complex things, right? You got a lot of accounts maybe, right? So it might be looking into, you know, getting a trust or something like that. So there's like different even pieces within that to look at. But I think, you know, getting the advice again of a trusted attorney is really worth, you know, worth it at this point. And that also brings me to having a succession plan for your business. So I think just in general, this is a good idea, not just because of, you know, potentially giving birth, but, you know, what happens if you do need to be out or a medical emergency happens, or, you know, you're not able to communicate with your clients, you know, or what do you want the accounts to do, right? Or things like that, right? So again, having all of that laid out is really important. It's not fun to think about, but it is something that needs to happen so that you can take care of all of your business, right? Front and back. So that is something that I recommend. If you Google succession plan or professional will, that's some stuff that you can find. There is some stuff there, but it might be different depending on what you do. So me as a therapist is going to look different than me as a coach. And then go ahead.
I'm saying that's a good point.
Yeah, thank you. And then, you know, running your business on autopilot, that was something that I didn't really have set up before I went on maternity leave. And so, you know, that's where Stefanie really can come in and help design the ways to keep it afloat, keep it going, especially if you are a solopreneur, right? But if you have, you know, a team and stuff like that too, all of this is important, but there will need to be a plan in place for what that's going to look like when you are not available. Because also, I think the point of this too is like we talked about this being exhausted in our first trimesters. Like I was so tired. I had to cancel. I had to cancel stuff. I had to space out my meetings. There was a lot that I had to do to adjust, and it was difficult on a personal level, but on a professional level too, because I wanted to, you know, keep doing the meetings and everything. But I was so exhausted. So it's like, what happens when you have to take a step back?
And take that step back early.
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't know why I thought 2 weeks. I don't know if this sounds crazy to you, but it sounds crazy to me now. But I thought 2 weeks before my due date was a sufficient amount of time to take off to like stop working. No, I was like a month minimum now.
Yeah, I
because
agree with that.
10 days early, and then I had spillage. So like there was actually a VIP day, what was supposed to be my second day
Mm-hmm.
into my maternity leave. I said okay to a VIP day in like right inside of my maternity leave.
Mm-hmm.
That was a Tuesday. I ended up having her as because of an emergency induction that Friday.
Yeah.
So, and it
Close. That was
started
too
on
close to her.
Thursday. Yeah, so really I only had Wednesday
Yeah.
off. I had one day off before she arrived. It's not a big deal. She's here for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So such is life. But something that I didn't respect is that once that baby's born, that's your focus. Like it's no longer about you. So take advantage of all the moments that you can to like cater to yourself and be there for yourself. So I'm hoping you're listening to this early on in your pregnancy. You'll have more time to prepare. That's
I
it.
agree with that. I was giving birth to my baby also due to an emergency induction 2 weeks prior to his due date. And so I was really planning to work till the end of August. I was supposed to have him September 9th. Like that was just kind of my plan. I was like, I'm good. I'll still, no. So, you know what I mean? Like it was like I prepped my therapy, specifically my therapy clients too, where, because it's like we're in the middle, of trauma work. And so there's a lot of supportive processes that need to go in place with that. But I kept telling them like, okay, we'll schedule, but just in case, right? But everything else was set up on the back end of that. But I think give yourself way more time than you think. And I was totally delusional. I was like, yeah, during my maternity leave, I'm really excited. I'm gonna start, this arm of my business and start and keep marketing and market this new thing. Like, no, I did zero of that because I was literally not able to. And like you said, even without like my added complications of like postpartum depression, anxiety, I was like adjusting to a baby is a whole new thing. And, I don't, for this is for people who have their first, but and I know it's different when you have a second one, but it's still a lot when you have now you have two kids in the family dynamic, right? Or more. So there's a lot to consider. So definitely take the time and give yourself more time than you want or need sometimes at the end specifically. And then I just want to add to, I'm really excited that you were able to share your story about, funding your maternity. Because again, I think that's the scariest thing. I had done profit first in my business. I had implemented profit first in my therapy business and had a significant amount of profit in my account. And actually, I was like under the impression I needed to use that for my business. So when I was first starting in maternity leave, my husband was like, it's okay, we can float, whatever, we could do whatever, make it work, for whatever we need to do. I was like, wait, I have money like in my account. And I asked my accountant if I could use it. She's like, yeah, like just as like to like bankrupt the company. I'm like, oh wow, okay. So that's another thing on the front end. If you don't have kids now, or even wherever you are in your journey, but really doing that profit first to put away for those situations that could also be a preemptive way to support yourself, as you are building your business too. So just kind of thinking about it in that way. And the book by his Mike, I don't know his last name, but the profit first, is helpful. So if you can grab that, listen to it, that I did listen to that and implement some of the things. So yeah, I think those would be my recommendations. Is there any other things that you want to share about maternity leave, preparing for it, afterward, all of that?
If we're still thinking about business and finances, it's the reality that it's okay to have a sustainable growth system and a fast cash injection because I would suggest, and this is just my own personal preference, to get the money in first and then have the sustainable growth happen while you're gone and when you come back. So, so you still have money coming in while you're gone, but get that money in the bank account ASAP. And there are offers that you can create even as a therapist. So the client that's pregnant, she's actually a therapist too, and her fast cash injection offer is a VIP intensive, and it's like a weekend with her going over like one real problem, and then they like attack it over the weekend. So and mine was a 2-day VIP experience to build and automate your client attraction system. So it was something I was already doing, but I just gave it to them fast, which meant they had to pay me fast, right? So it was just a faster way so that when I left, I had everything that I needed so that if someone didn't pay a payment or whatever, I'm not going to be tracking you down, or my assistant can track you down, but it's not something that I would be stressing about. That was the most valuable thing that I accidentally did. And be grateful, be overly grateful, even when you feel like a crazy person. I'm telling you, when I first started sharing, like being grateful for my ex, it was not, I felt like a crazy person.
Right.
Like,
It
what are you
feels
talking about?
counterintuitive to do that. Right.
Yes. But over time, I believed it. And you do that every day, you're going to start to feel it. And once you start to feel it, you're going to feel that vibration go up, up, and up. And that's where the money is. It's not down there at the low vibration level.
Beautifully said. I could not have said any better. So thank you so much. I think these were the amazing highlights. More to come. You know, we might do some more things. I kind of still do want to do like a panel format and kind of ask, you know, questions for moms who are building businesses and just, you know, in general, what momhood is like and all those things. So thank you so much for being here, Stefanie. You are a joy and a gem, and I know you help so many people. And I'm really thankful for you. I'm so glad our paths crossed, that we were able to connect, and that I can support you, and that, you know, you are always inspiring me. So thank you so much. And please tell people how they can reach you.
So thank you as well. This was an amazing conversation, and I look forward to more to come. You guys already heard it. I feel like I had so much to say and so little time. But you can reach me on Facebook and Instagram, Stefanie Julia, Stefanie. On Instagram, if you're interested in learning more about my automated client attraction system, if you DM me quiz, I'll send you a quiz so you can figure out which strategy works best for your business, or just simply DM me, hit me up. I'm I always like to say that's my open door policy, is the Instagram DMs. So hit me up, reach out. I'd love to connect.
Love that. Thank you so much again. And we will catch you all in the next episode.
You're not here for surface level success. You're here to expand. Visit angelamarie.co, where you'll find retreats, private coaching, and resources to expand your capacity and lead with calm, clarity, and authority. If this conversation moved you, make sure to share it with a leader who's ready for more.